Chunking is a great technique to develop vocabulary and increase fluency. Chunks are groups of words that can be found together and learned as unanalyzed wholes. So the focus is not so much on grammar and individual words, but on learning phrases, groups of words, or other lexical chunks. Chunking is for language learners on all levels. For example, beginner learners learn chunks such as, "It's nice to meet you," "How are you?" "I'm fine," "My name is," without necessarily understanding the grammar of these expressions. So how can chunking enhance your students' vocabulary and fluency? Chunking increases listening comprehension and speaking fluency. First, our knowledge of chunks makes meaning prediction less complicated, making it easier to process what we listen to in real time. Secondly, by learning chunks, we have a more comprehensive range of phrases with which we can respond to in conversations. Learning and using chunks enable more meaningful communication than just learning single words. For example, so much better to say, "Nice to see you again," than just "Hi." Learning chunks also lessens the load on working memory, because we do not have to stop and pause and think about particular grammar rules or a particular vocabulary item. This means we can also introduce learners to a greater variety of language at an earlier stage. For example, "If I were you, I would" is frequently used by native speakers in daily conversations. When students learn this, they can start to use it immediately, and we do not have to wait until we get to the unit on the second conditional. To learn chunks, we have to be able to identify them. The 4 types of chunks that are the easiest to identify are collocations, discourse markers, idiomatic expressions, and common expressions. Collocations are words that usually go together, or they are a predictable combination of words. These combinations of words sound right, and if they are not followed, it just sounds wrong. For example, some common collocations are to do homework, to make the bed, to make a mess, to take a risk. Create awareness of collocations and give your students enough opportunity to identify potential collocations. And when students learn a new word, take a minute or two to identify other words that collocate with it. For example, let's say we just learned the word trouble. What other words collocate with it? Get into trouble, having trouble, to be in trouble. Discourse markers are the words or phrases we use to direct or redirect the flow of thinking and conversation. They help us to organize our thoughts and attitudes towards something. Learning and using discourse markers increases fluency and enables us to express what we mean and think clearly. For example, the discourse marker "first of all" indicates that points are going to follow in a specific order. The discourse marker "in my opinion" shows that we're going to express a specific view. "I see what you mean," but shows us that the speaker understands, but what is to follow is going to be different. Identify common expressions used in everyday language. For example, "have a seat," "good to see you again," "welcome back," "all the best." Native speakers use idiomatic expressions like "my hands are tied," "better late than never," "out of the blue," frequently in daily conversation. Learning common idiomatic expressions and what they mean improves fluency, comprehension, and also a deeper understanding of the culture. When working with texts, provide your students with opportunities to identify potential chunks, and then use these in classroom conversations, writing, and debates and discussions to reinforce learning, but most importantly, to check for contextual accuracy. Well, that's it from me. Happy teaching!